The Adopted Son, by Guy de Maupassant. The two cottages stood beside each other at the foot of a hill near a little seashore resort. The two peasants labored hard on the unproductive soil to rear their little ones, and each family had 4. Before the adjoining doors a whole troop of urchins played and tumbled about from morning till night. The 2 eldest were 6 years old, and the youngest were about 15 months. The marriages, and afterward the births, having taken place nearly simultaneously in both families. The 2 mothers could hardly distinguish their own offspring among the lot, and as for the fathers, they were altogether at sea. The 8 names danced in their heads. They were always getting them mixed up. And when they wished to call one child, the men often called 3 names before getting the right one. The first of the 2 cottages, as you came up from the bathing beach, Rolleport, was occupied by the 2 Vaches, who had 3 girls and 1 boy. The other house sheltered the Vallons, who had 1 girl and 3 boys. They all subsisted frugally on soup, potatoes and fresh air. At 7 o'clock in the morning, then at noon, then at 6 o'clock in the evening, the housewives got their broods together to give them their food, as the gooseherds collect their charges. The children were seated, according to age, before the wooden table, varnished by 50 years of use, the mouths of the youngest hardly reaching the level of the table. Before them was placed a bowl filled with bread, soaked in the water in which the potatoes had been boiled, half a cabbage and 3 onions, and the whole line ate until their hunger was appeased. The mother herself fed the smallest. A small pot roast on Sunday was a feast for all, and the father on this day sat longer over the meal, repeating, "I wish we could have this every day." One afternoon, in the month of August, a phaeton stopped suddenly in front of the cottages, and a young woman, who was driving the horses, said to the gentleman sitting at her side, "Oh, look at all those children, Henri. How pretty they are, tumbling about in the dust, like that." The man did not answer, accustomed to these outbursts of admiration, which were a pain and almost a reproach to him. The young woman continued, "I must hug them. Oh, how I should like to have one of them, that one there, the little tiny one." Springing down from the carriage, she ran toward the children, took one of the 2 youngest to Vache child and lifting it up in her arms, she kissed him passionately on his dirty cheeks, on his tousled hair daubed with earth, and on his little hands, with which he fought vigorously to get away from the caresses which displeased him. Then she got into the carriage again, and drove off at a lively trot. But she returned the following week, and seating herself on the ground, took the youngster in her arms, stuffed him with cakes, gave candies to all the others, and played with them like a young girl, while the husband waited patiently in the carriage. She returned again, made the acquaintance of the parents, and reappeared every day with her pockets full of dainties and pennies. Her name was Madame Henri de Huberas. One morning, on arriving, her husband alighted with her, and without stopping to talk to the children, who now knew her well, she entered the farmer's cottage. They were busy chopping wood for the fire. They rose to their feet in surprise, brought forward chairs, and waited expectantly. Then the woman, in a broken, trembling voice, began, "My good people, I have come to see you, because I should like to take your little boy with me." The country people, too bewildered to think, did not answer. She recovered her breath, and continued, "We are alone, my husband and I. We would keep it. Are you willing?" The peasant woman began to understand. She asked, "You want to take Charlotte from us?" "Oh, no, indeed." Then M. de Huberas intervened. "My wife has not made her meaning clear. We wish to adopt him, but he will come back to see you. If he turns out well, as there is every reason to expect, he will be our heir. If we, perchance, should have children, he will share equally with them, but if he should not reward our care, we should give him, when he comes of age, a sum of 20,000 francs, which shall be deposited immediately in his name, with a lawyer. As we have thought also of you, we should pay you, until your death, a pension of 100 francs a month. Do you understand me? The woman had arisen, furious. You want me to sell you, Charlotte? Oh, no, that's not the sort of thing to ask of a mother. Oh, no, that would be an abomination. The man, grave and deliberate, said nothing, but approved of what his wife said by a continued nodding of his head. Madame de Hubieres, in dismay, began to weep, turning to her husband, with a voice full of tears, the voice of a child used to having all its wishes gratified. She stammered, "They will not do it, Henri, they will not do it." Then he made a last attempt. "But, my friends, think of the child's future, of his happiness, of..." The peasant woman, however, exasperated, cut him short. "It's all considered. It's all understood. Get out of here, and don't let me see you again. The idea of wanting to take away a child like that." Madame de Hubieres remembered that there were 2 children, quite little, and she asked, through her tears, with the tenacity of a willful and spoiled woman, "But is the other little one not yours?" Father Touvache answered, "No, it is our neighbor's. You can go to them if you wish." And he went back into his house, whence resounded the indignant voice of his wife. The Valens were at table, slowly eating slices of bread which they parsimoniously spread with a little rancid butter on a plate between the two. M. de Hubieres recommenced his proposals, but with more insinuations, more oratorical precautions, more shrewdness. The 2 country people shook their heads, in sign of refusal, but when they learned that they were to have 100 francs a month, they considered the matter, consulting one another by glances, much disturbed. They kept silent for a long time, tortured, hesitating. At last the woman asked, "What do you say to it, man?" In a weighty tone he said, "I say that it's not to be despised." Madame de Hubieres, trembling with anguish, spoke of the future of their child, of his happiness, and of the money which he could give them later. The peasant asked, "This pension of 1,200 francs, will it be promised before a lawyer?" M. de Hubieres responded, "Why, certainly, beginning with tomorrow." The woman, who was thinking it over, continued, 100 francs a month is not enough to pay for depriving us of the child. That child would be working in a few years, we must have 120 francs. Tapping her foot with impatience, Madame de Hubieres granted it at once, and, as she wished to carry off the child with her, she gave 100 francs extra, as a present, while her husband drew up a paper. And the young woman, radiant, carried off the howling brat, as one carries away a wished-for knick-knack from a shop. The Touvaches, from their door, watched her departure, silent, serious, perhaps regretting their refusal. Nothing more was heard of little Jean Valin. The parents went to the lawyer every month to collect their 120 francs. They had quarreled with their neighbors, because Mother Touvache grossly insulted them, continually, repeating from door to door that one must be unnatural to sell one's child, that it was horrible, disgusting, bribery. Sometimes she would take her Charlotte in her arms, ostentatiously exclaiming, as if he understood, "I didn't sell you, I didn't. I didn't sell you, my little one. I'm not rich, but I don't sell my children." The Valens lived comfortably, thanks to the pension. That was the cause of the unappeasable fury of the Touvaches, who had remained miserably poor. Their eldest went away to serve his time in the army. Charlotte alone remained to labor with his old father, to support the mother and 2 younger sisters. He had reached 21 years when, one morning, a brilliant carriage stopped before the 2 cottages. A young gentleman, with a gold watch chain, got out, giving his hand to an aged, white-haired lady. The old lady said to him, "It is there, my child, at the second house." And he entered the house of the Valens as though at home. The old mother was washing her aprons, the infirm father slumbered at the chimney corner. Both raised their heads, and the young man said, "Good morning, Papa. Good morning, Mama." They both stood up, frightened. In a flutter, the peasant woman dropped her soap into the water, and stammered. "Is it you, my child? Is it you, my child?" He took her in his arms and hugged her, repeating, "Good morning, Mama," while the old man, all a-tremble, said, in his calm tone which he never lost, "Here you are, back again, Jean," as if he had just seen him a month ago. When they had got to know one another again, the parents wished to take their boy out in the neighborhood, and show him. They took him to the mayor, to the deputy, to the curé, and to the schoolmaster. Charlotte, standing on the threshold of his cottage, watched him pass. In the evening, at supper, he said to the old people, "You must have been stupid to let the Valens boy be taken." The mother answered, obstinately, "I wouldn't sell my child." The father remained silent. The son continued, "It is unfortunate to be sacrificed like that." Then Father Touvache, in an angry tone, said, "Are you going to reproach us for having kept you?" And the young man said, brutally, "Yes, I reproach you for having been such fools. Parents like you make the misfortune of their children. You deserve that I should leave you." The old woman wept over her plate. She moaned, as she swallowed the spoonfuls of soup, half of which she spilled. "One may kill oneself to bring up children." Then the boy said, roughly, "I'd rather not have been born than be what I am." When I saw the other, my heart stood still. I said to myself, "See what I should have been now." He got up. "See here, I feel that I would do better not to stay here, because I would throw it up to you from morning till night, and I would make your life miserable. I'll never forgive you for that." The two old people were silent, downcast, in tears. He continued, "No, the thought of that would be too much. I'd rather look for a living somewhere else." He opened the door. A sound of voices came in at the door. The Valens were celebrating the return of their child. The end. Thanks for listening the story. For more classic short stories audio, you can subscribe this channel. I wish you want to hit like and share as well. And, feel free to leave your comment, so we will know about your opinion.